You're listening to the #1 podcast for oil and gas professionals. What's up? Michael Fry. I'm here with Dallas Bozeman.
Hi.
Well, wait a minute. Where's Dallas at?
Not here.
Dallas is on vacation. So unfortunately, when the boss wants to kick out a podcast, and you are the only one left in the office, somebody has to sit on in Dallas's chair and fill in. So
Here I am.
Dallas, hurry back, please.
Please.
I mean, I really need you back here to be able to do this, but we'll see what happens. So today's the Hollywood season. Yeah, for some people it's Hollywood. Today is the holiday season kickoff, day before Thanksgiving. We got Black Friday coming up. Definitely won't be out shopping during Black Friday. But what I want to talk about is staying away from the spirit world. And I know it might sound funny, like, what are you talking about, the spirit world? And as you know, here at Deepwater Subsea, I like music and quoting movies and stuff. So to kind of set the tone for this podcast of staying away from the spirit world, I want to start off with a great clip from the movie Young Guns.
When an Indian is lost, he must reach into the spirit world to find a way. On the spirit road, he'll be shown a sign. This is the way to the spirit road. We're lost right now, but I'll find us the way.
So from that clip, one of the things that you'll hear is, if you've seen the movie, they've kind of lost in their way, and they're going to sit around the campfire. They're going to, I guess absorb, or I don't even know. I've never done drugs, so eat mushrooms, drink it, whatever they do. But they're going to be taking some hallucinogenics, and they're going to go to the spirit world. They're going to get out of reality, and they're going to try to find their way, and the spirits are going to put them on the path and move forward. The problem with going to a alter state is sometimes you might run into this.
Did you guys see something? Chicken?
And if you've ever seen the movie, I mean, that's got to be one of the better quotes I've ever heard. I mean, one of the things that kicked off this podcast was walking around the office today, and I did it last night at home, and goofing around with Keegan, who you heard on the last podcast, and it was like, you guys see the size of that chicken? Well, the funny thing about it is sometimes when stress hits, people turn to, everybody turns to different things to try to find that escape. It could be working out, it could be music, it could be meditation, it could be whatever. And unfortunately, when stress sets in, some people turn to, drugs and alcohol, and then even suicide if it gets too bad. But what I want to talk about is, I've mentioned this before, I'd be a horrible counselor because I am just pretty much a realist and bring it as it is. My friends and family, and sometimes I think even my coworkers would tell you, I am not an excuse person. Tomorrow's a new day, and we just get up and we grind and we do what we got to do. So during this holiday season, what I want you to think about is something very simple. It doesn't matter if it's Thanksgiving, if it's Christmas, if it's New Year's, if it's your birthday, if it's Tuesday, if it's Wednesday. It's just another day on the calendar. And the thing that's important about that is when you wake up first thing in the morning, you could be having the worst day in the world. But the reality is you have an opportunity to do something different to try to better your life. And, we're getting ready for the podcast, and Leslie brought up a quote that she had seen on Shark Tank. And
Shark Tank.
Yeah. Well, what was that quote again?
It's some women fear the fire, some women simply become it.
And I think the problem with some women being the fire is there's a lot of married guys out there that'd be like, yeah, my wife is hell at times. But no, I mean, just kind of bringing it though. I mean, the reality is this. You have to want to try to get better. You want to have to. I was watching a show last night, and it had to do with, I believe it's K2 or whatever the spice alternative for marijuana is. And there's a lot of kids these days that are getting sick and they're dying on it. And you used to be able to buy it in stores. And there was a thing on Austin, Texas, which is, a few hours west of us. And there was a kid on the street. He's homeless. He's 24, and he's sitting there, and he's like, oh, yeah, well, this is this and this and this. And I was sitting there watching the show, and I looked over at my wife. I said, you know what the problem with that individual is? And I'm not generalizing, but I said, he's lazy. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? I said, he's 24. He's not 60, down on his luck, had a horrible life. He was in college. He got hooked on this drug, which is not addictive, but he chooses to do it. And he enjoys being homeless. And part of what they were talking about is how there's no responsibility. It slows you down. It actually makes you, in a way, dumber. But the alter, state of reality that if you guys seen the size of that chicken, you can wake up in the morning and make a decision. And how bad do you want it? Now, there's been times as a small business owner, I mean, you've heard me say this in other podcasts that I do, I take the responsibility of my employees, my family, their family, the success of the business, my customers. I carry that weight on my shoulders each and every day. When we first opened our office, we have these huge 100-inch screens, and they're awesome. These interactive boards that we do our teaching and stuff on. And we bought an Xbox, and I was like, it'd be really cool when we get some time. We'll hook it up. We'll play. We'll all just have a kind of event session. I think that Xbox has been turned on like 3 times in 2 years, because when I want to pull the Xbox out and have a moment of just kind of forgetting the moment or forgetting reality and just like, hey, let's have some fun. Very quickly, I think about Steven and, Tim and Danny and Josh and Mike and Leslie and Dallas. And, I think about the fact that here I would be, even at 5 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night, am I wasting a minute to where I could be out hustling? Is being on the Xbox being productive? Now, it'd be different if it was 2 p.m. People would be like, well, yeah, that's not very productive. My family will tell you I am a 24/7, each day, every day, Monday through Sunday. I am go, go, go. The reason for that is because our opportunity for success is limited. And you've heard me say this before as well, as if you and I are both getting ready to start a race, and I'm not talking about the tortoise and the hare, I'm just talking about 2 people who want to get after it and make money and build a business. And money is not the driving force, but it's if you want to be successful in life, money is part of the byproduct of it. But the reality is this: if you and I both want something bad and we both compete in the same space, it comes down to who wants it more. If you're working Monday through Friday, 60, 80 hours, a week, great. But if I'm working 7 days a week, 100 hours, sooner or later, even if I'm working smart and hard, I'm going to beat you. I was sending emails last night. It was 11:45 at night. I was emailing some people about ISO standards. Now, they might think, hey, why is this guy emailing me, that late at night? But my customers know that it's a 24/7 deal. They also know that they can call 24/7 and that me and the team are there to help them. But what I want to get back to with the staying out of the spirit world is this. I saw a great quote that said, ships don't sink because of the water around them. They sink because of the water that gets in them. You control your world. You might be sitting at home today and you might not have a paycheck. You might not have a job and you're feeling down on your luck. The reality is you're alive. And being alive gives you the opportunity to get out there and hustle. Now, you might not be doing something that you've done before. You might have to go into a completely different industry. I have friends and peers in this industry who don't work in the industry anymore. They're in Ohio, they're in Indiana, they're in Virginia, doing something completely different for a third of what they made in oil and gas. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of them are a lot happier because they're home every night. And it comes down to, how bad do you want to provide for your family? What are you willing to do to get to a better place? I know an individual who did some work with us. I won't mention his name, but for the only reason is I know he listens to this. Industry went into the toilet, just got married, moved his family back with, I think it was his family or her family. He was sleeping on his buddy's couch. He called literally every day, if not every week. The reality is one day came and one of our customers said, hey, do you happen to have someone that fits this qualification? And it was like, yeah. And the next thing you know, he's working and he's now off doing some other projects, and he might not be back to where he was a year, 2 years ago, but he has income coming in and he's providing for himself and providing for his family. He could have very easily just said, screw it sucks, and let that water start coming into the ship and let it start sinking. But if you're willing to paddle, if you're willing to get out and hustle, and you're willing to stay focused, there are opportunities for you. You could also be like that kid up in Austin who is 24, would rather sit around and get high and just, go to the altar state because that's more fun than getting out and getting a job and putting in the work. The problem is his life is pretty much over with. And I hate to say it like that, but if you've given up at 24, you've given up for the long haul. Unless someone just rescues you from yourself, you're going to be stuck where you're at. And sometimes, my kids will tell you, and the players I've had that played for me as a coach, you either put in the work or you sit on the bench. You either do what you need to do or you fend for yourself. There's too many people out there today who are looking for an excuse, who are looking for a reason why not to do something. I can tell you as a small business owner, the hustle, there's no greater rush in the world than getting that email or a telephone call from someone saying, hey, we're so grateful for what you do for us. The next great rush is, hey, being that you do such great work, we want to offer you more work. Mm-hmm. We don't look at it as I say this quite a bit. For me, our support to our customers is not a transaction. It's about building the relationship and supporting them and their needs. But again, that 24-year-old, he's done. If you're, I say older, 40, 50, 60, I see homeless people who you can look at them and go, good Lord, that person's had a rough life. And there's not anything in the world that I wouldn't give to try to, I'll say, rescue, support these people who just have it bad. Like, I've given everything I have and just it ain't working. Versus someone who's sitting on the corner who has both of his arms, of his legs, he can do whatever he wants. He was smart enough to go to college and just chose to be lazy. You have choices. And that's the thing I think is very important. And I know I get very deep sometimes when it comes to, the reality, but the reality is this. A year ago, my team and I were sitting around wondering what we're going to do next. Just came off a big contract, 8 months supporting, one of the drilling contractors here in Houston. Things were going great. Industry was still totally in the toilet. And we were sitting around a hotel room one day because our offices weren't ready. And we're looking at each other like, what's next? 12 months later, we fast forward. We've now added multiple people to our team. We're growing. We're bringing on new customers in a market to where my peers are in competition or letting people go weekly. We're adding people. We're adding people because our focus is our customers and our hustle is 24/7. I could have sat there and said, this sucks. Industry sucks. Let's start selling everything and we'll just close the doors and we'll go back to work for drilling contractors and operators and do that. But no, we all looked at each other and said, we have a passion to do what we're going to do, and we're going to do whatever it takes, and we're going to get up and we're going to hustle and grind, and there's going to be days, weeks, months that it's tough. But as I've told everybody on the team, tomorrow is another day for us to wake up and go do something great. And if you have that mindset, and that mindset is just that, today is a new day. Get out of bed, get up, go do something. Motion creates emotion, or excuse me, both ways. Emotion creates motion. I mean, if you're excited about something and you want to go out and do things, there's too many entrepreneurs out there, and you've heard stories of them on the Shark Tanks and these other shows that, hey, they were rejected, 100 times, 150 times. And it's that one time you walk in, they're like, yeah, we want to do what you're doing. Damon Johns, the guy that wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, I say jokingly Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean, there's successful organizations who time and time again are told no. If you learn from each one of those no's, what is it about me that doesn't meet the qualification? You might not have the experience. You might not have, just the basics of what they're looking for. I mean, hell, you might have all the experience in the world, but you just don't have the college degree. There's a company in Houston who they use a third-party service to vet their candidates. That person, that company has no idea about the oil and gas industry, in my opinion. But the problem is guys are submitting their applications and they're submitting their resumes, and just because of the words that are in there, they're being rejected. Now, it doesn't mean that, hey, I've submitted my resume 2 times and they've been told no. Go to everybody and then follow back up with everybody. And then like, hey, is there anything I can do? Is there other positions that I can do? But you can't give up. And you definitely got to stay away from the spirit world. Too many people, drugs, alcohol, more alcohol than anything else is an easy way. And then the reality is they start becoming dependent on that alcohol each and every night. And then you wonder why things are getting bad and you're spending more money than you probably should be saving, and just you create your own downward spiral. But again, not putting this in the toilet, what I want to talk about is this. You control your own destiny. Don't let an industry, don't let an employer, don't let, someone that you're in a relationship with, your circumstances, whatever it may be. I talked about this a couple episodes ago. It's about me, myself, and I. And you have to wake up in the morning and go, what do I need to do today to better myself? I know guys who are sitting at home who study. They got old rig books. They got, hey, I understand these new systems have fiber optics and they have, high-tech hydraulic systems or whatever it is. And they're teaching themselves. Gentleman that I know paid for his own Bozia training. I mean, I've had guys who paid for their own way to come to a deep water subsea course because they know when the industry comes back, they want to be ready for it. And again, it's kind of it's a holiday wake-up call. And it's this: tomorrow's Thanksgiving. But really, if I look at the calendar, tomorrow's Thursday. And what's important about that is it's just another day. And if you look at it as just another day for another opportunity, you can definitely better yourself very quickly.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And you talk about the holidays, and with Christmas coming up, another quote that I've seen, it's not what's under the tree, it's who's around it. I mean, you have your family around you. You don't have to have all this stuff. You just have to have the people that you love around you.
Yeah, and that's the problem is materialistic items. I mean, look, everybody's done it. I used to joke at home, when I was going in the Navy, I would get pictures and it looked like Toys R Us had a delivery at our house. And I was like, what the hell is this? But it was one of those things that we didn't have money. And then my wife had the opportunity to have a big Christmas, and it was a time to see the kids happy. Well, in this market, you might not have a Christmas. Instead of I think of Step Brothers making quotes and stuff. It's like they open up their gifts and it's like, I made a list. I've had kids tell me that. I won't pick out which one of my 3, but it's like, we made a list. Just because you put something on the list doesn't mean it's going to show up and be under the tree. I make a list too. I want a new car and I want a new house and I want all kinds of stuff. But the reality is you might have times to where it's like, I don't have a paycheck. I don't have a whole paycheck. We can't have Christmas. We can't go on this trip. But if you think about the big picture, we all know this industry is going to come back. That's just the reality of it. But you have to have the mindset that whatever it takes. Are you the Bear Grylls who gets dumped off in the middle of nowhere and it's like, you know what, I'm going to figure out a way to survive? Or are you the person that gets dropped off in the same spot and goes, screw it, this sucks. There's no way I'm going to get out of here. And you just curl up and die. Yeah, I mean, you have to have that mindset. And again, kind of going on a rant, I watch those shows and I'm like, there's no way in hell I'd eat or climb in the middle of a dead camel to stay warm at night. But I guess if I didn't have a choice and I wanted to survive, I'd be climbing in that dead camel's belly. You have to do whatever it takes. And whatever it takes is getting to that next place to where you can get back on your feet and get going. And just think about it. Holiday season's here. It's just another day. Call a friend. Call a family member. If you're feeling down, call me. But the reality is this. You have to get back on your feet and understand that it's just 24 hours. tomorrow is going to be a new day. So stay clear of the spirit world. Definitely stay away from those hallucinogenic mushrooms, and don't be chasing them chickens, because the reality is this: if you're not living in this world and you want to go to somewhere other world, you're going to miss out on opportunities that are going to come your way. And the last thing you want to do is be sitting on the sidelines watching an industry come back that you love, and you're sitting there going, what the hell happened? What the hell happened is I was out there hustling. You were sitting at home crying, and I won and you lost. And like Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last. So until the next episode, I want you guys to have a happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to be heading to Brazil next week. Going to be doing some training, going to be doing some hustling. That's what it's all about. You know, even the CEO gets on a flight and takes off to go do what he needs to do, because it's all about building the business. And we're going to be kicking out a podcast. Might be an interesting one from Brazil, but we'll put it together and you know, we'll get Dallas back on it and we'll see what we can do. But have a happy Thanksgiving. If I don't hear from you before that, definitely check us out on Facebook, our LinkedIn page, Snapchat. You know, we're out there on social media. But the reason we're there is we're here for you. And if you can understand that and understand that there are organizations out there that want to help support you and help better you, then you know where to turn to, you know, in a time of need. So happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, and we'll talk to you soon.